Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shawn Roberts, and I'm going to be going over how to do a rotisserie rack of St. Louis spare ribs today. Most of you that have attempted smoking ribs know that spare ribs usually take about 5 to 7 hours just to ensure they pass the bend test, that they're fall off the bone or whatever particular finishing style that you prefer. What I'm going to show you today is the ability to put these on a rotisserie and cut the cook time down to about 2 hours. Okay, we are back, and you can see that I have secured the slab of the St. Louis spares. I did want to note that to fit this particular basket, I actually had to trim off what would look like a rib. It's the end that didn't even have a bone, a rib in it, but I had to do that to avoid scrunching this any more than it already is. And I'll use that little extra tomorrow for 4th of July. But I did want to point out, I'm using a Weber rotisserie kit, so the motor and this spit. But this basket I actually bought on Amazon, and it can be used for fish, chicken pieces, you name it. But I did want to point out what I really like about it is I'm on the top notch on the thicker end of the ribs. But on the lower end of the slab, I'm all the way up to the first. So you can actually diversify your settings here. I did dry brine these ribs. Sometimes you buy ribs and they're already in a salt solution. This had a very light salt amount, so I did actually use kosher salt and did that overnight. Used about a teaspoon front and back. 1 teaspoon for front and back. And then just 30 minutes before starting this video, I applied a rub, but it's a salt-free rub I made. So if you're using a rub with salt in it, you certainly wouldn't want to do both, or you'll end up with ham, and you'll lose the tastiness. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get this on the grill and then start the video again. So we are back. It's been about 45 minutes since we put these on and started the rotisserie motor. You can see that we're right at 350 on the Weber's dome thermometer. Now, people smarter than me have always told me there can be up to a 50-degree variance on what this temperature is and what the actual grill area or where the meat is temperature. So take that for what it's worth. But that 350 to 400 is what we were striving for. So that's perfect. Gonna go ahead and lift this off. Those are looking outstanding. So you can see how the motor just has a slow, deliberate turn. We're gonna turn it off for a second so that we can get a temperature read. Now we are striving for, I love I can see a nice smoke ring developing. You also can take note that the coals are still going, but the wood was absolutely vanquished, and that's great. We didn't want to overpower it, but I'm just trying to see. Let me get a good read, nice thick part. This has us right around 200, and we're actually striving for that. So we're making outstanding progress. We're not in danger of frying them, so to speak. If you did see that the exterior was drying up, not have enough moisture, you could certainly use a spritz. I love a 1 part apple cider vinegar water spritz. The one drawback I would say to that is we'll keep the meat moist, especially with high temperatures like this, but it can also dissolve the rub. So if you like that rub flavor, maybe a little drier finish, I would not advise it. So it really does vary. We are actually going to do a finishing glaze on these ribs. So I'm gonna kind of keep it the way it is. but just keep a close eye on it and check on it every 15 minutes until we pull soon. We're at about an hour and 15 minutes. The bark is looking outstanding on these ribs. When I spoke to you about spraying with a spritz, really that's a texture issue. So I mentioned it would possibly, water down or dilute the rub. It's more of the texture you're left with. If you like what we call bark, just that crunchier exterior, you certainly want to be careful with the spritzing. I love what I'm seeing right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop it. And I mentioned that I like to do what we call a bend test, where you use your tongs about, I don't know, a third of the way on either side, and you see if the ribs are naturally breaking down, getting to that nice fall off the bone-ish texture. Well, we're gonna try something different. I think we're fine on temperature, but I'm gonna try a toothpick test. And that is just, is there any type of give? And right now there is a little bit, and I'm on the underside. There's still a little give. We're at our target 200-ish temperature. There's still a little more give than I want. So I'm gonna give these about 15 more minutes and pull. And let's see what we have. The last thing I'm gonna do, I just wanted to share it with you, is a little marinade. And this is something I picked up at Costco. So it's a roasted pineapple habanero. Now normally if I was smoking these on the grill, smoking these on my smoker, I'd put this on the last 30 minutes or so, very carefully, because I don't want the sugar to burn. But I'm kind of using this just as like a little bit of a finishing sauce. And I have the ribs sitting on double foil, and I'm gonna use a little brush to rub this on, and I'm gonna wrap these ribs up. And you can put these ribs in a cooler, no ice obviously, but just a empty cooler, your oven, anything insulated. We're actually going to take these to the pool, or we can have these tonight. But that I don't know. I would try to keep it to under an hour, but that allows the meat to absorb all of the juices. So the salt and everything kind of moved the moisture around, and that just gives everything time to settle. And make sure they're wrapped tight. Hey everybody, this is finished product. Pretty happy with the quality. Again, if you smoke them for 5-7 hours, you're gonna get more tenderness, more smoke flavor. But for an hour and a half, really happy with them. But I'm not gonna ask myself for an opinion. I'm gonna ask this professional eater. What do you think of the ribs, buddy?
Good.
And that's what we have.